Hi, I'm Movie Man. I'm an octopus who reviews movies, and today's review is going to be on. Here we are with my second movie review of 2025. Even though, of course, technically this is actually like my first proper movie review of 2025 since the first one I did, which was for Baby Girl, was technically actually a 2024 movie since it premiered in 2024 and was released on Christmas Day in other territories in 2024, but in Ireland we only got it January 10th, 2025, so I counted that as a 2025 review, but now here we go with this is the first widely released 2025 movie, Wolfman. And now, of course, this film is Blumhouse's first movie of 2025 because they actually do have quite a few movies coming out this year. I believe they have 6 movies coming out this year. Now, this film did look quite interesting to me. Obviously, this movie is directed by Leigh Whannell, who is, of course, quite a notable person in the horror world. Of course, a lot of you will recognize him for his work on the original Saw movie. Because, not only was he the writer for the original Saw movie, but, of course, he also plays Adam in the first film. Of course, he's also worked with James Wan on Insidious, and he acted in Insidious as well. Of course, he's directed a few films there by himself, but about 5 years ago now, in 2020, he directed The Invisible Man, also for Blumhouse, which, that film came out nearly 5 years ago now in 2020, just a few weeks before, the lockdown started and stuff. I only just watched The Invisible Man for the first time, just a few days before I went to see Wolfman, and honestly, I'm actually kind of sorry that I didn't get to checking it out sooner, because honestly, I have to say, I actually really enjoyed The Invisible Man, the way they were able to take, kind of the story of The Invisible Man, but, kind of modernize it, but, also have a lot of very, relevant themes and stuff. I thought that was really well done, but now, 5 years after The Invisible Man came out, Blumhouse have given him another newer take on one of their classic monsters, but this time with the Wolfman. I had seen the trailers for this movie and stuff, and honestly, this actually looks like an alright film. I know there was a bit of controversy when at Halloween Horror Nights they actually revealed supposedly the look of the Wolfman in the film, and yeah, there was quite a bit of controversy over that, I remember, but nonetheless, I was still looking forward to the movie. Also, maybe this could be a good film because, of course, with the fact that Leigh Whannell was directing it and stuff. Now, before going in to actually watch the movie, I'd seen alright that it had actually gotten like a bit of a mixed reception. It seems like this one seems to be like kind of polarizing to a lot of people, but nonetheless, I went in, just hoping for the best. We're like over 5 minutes in now, haven't even gone to actually talking about the film itself, but yeah, having seen Wolfman for myself now, what did I think of it? In my opinion, this movie is okay. It's not great, it's not amazing, but by no means is it terrible either. It's honestly an okay film, and like for a January horror release, it's not a bad effort. But since we're now 6 minutes into the review, I should get to actually discussing my thoughts on the film. So first off, the cinematography in the movie is honestly pretty good actually. We have like the majority of the film being set, in this dark forest at night. I'm not gonna lie, we actually get like a lot of genuinely good shots out of it. Like there's actually some pretty good shots in the film. Like I was thinking, I really like some of these overhead shots. Like there was one like overhead shot at one point in the film that I actually thought looks genuinely pretty cool. And like not to mention there's also like this one like shot of like this mass city and stuff, and I actually thought that was a really nice shot. Yeah, I mean overall I think like not to mention like the look of the movie as well, just with like the whole like dark forest aesthetic. I think like overall it really kind of works for the film. I think like the cinematography overall does a good job of like getting that whole like aesthetic and stuff. But yeah, overall I have to say that the cinematography in the movie is quite good. In terms of the film's editing, I think overall the movie is actually edited decently as well. Well, at least like for the most part anyway. It's not like absolutely amazing editing, but I think like for what the movie's kind of trying to do and stuff, it's kind of straightforward enough, and I think it honestly like does the job well enough. Now if I do have any issues with the editing, I will say at the start of the movie there's this one flashback scene, and yeah, I'm honestly not gonna lie, like it seems as if like they were gonna show like something, but then like right as like something's gonna happen, it then like cuts to like the present day in the film. I honestly didn't really like that all that much. I don't know, I just didn't really like how like it seems like they were gonna show something, but like then they just kind of cut away from it. I didn't really like that, to be honest. But like other than that, I think the editing in the movie overall was okay. I've just thought like absolutely amazing. As I said, I just wish they show us more of that flashback. which then leads me into the film's pace now. In terms of the pacing of the movie, like this movie isn't too long. Like the movie is an hour and 43 minutes. But like, I mean, like the movie is kind of paced like fine enough in terms of like the runtime and stuff. Like it overall goes like kind of quickly enough, but I don't think it goes like too quickly. But honestly though, I actually feel like the movie could have been a bit longer. Because like I mentioned with the flashback scene, like in the flashback at the start of the film, we kind of like get some insight into the main character and like his relationship with his father and stuff, but basically the movie just ends up like kind of cutting away from it, and like yeah, I just feel like we weren't really told enough like about the relationship and stuff. I don't think we really got to see enough of it. But like, not to mention as well, there's also like this whole kind of subplot in the film with like how the main character and his wife, they're kind of like drifting apart from each other a bit. I feel like the movie just could have shown us a bit more of that as well. So I feel like just if the movie had shown us a bit more of it, then I feel like I would have cared more about like the central drama going on in the film. So yeah, like overall, I think the pace in the movie was a bit of a mixed bag because of it. Like it wasn't horrible, but I just feel like the movie could have been a bit longer to where, we actually got to see like some of like the relationships between the characters and stuff. So overall the pacing was a bit of a mixed bag. Now in terms of the sounds and music, now I'll definitely give the movie this. The sounds design in the film is genuinely pretty good. Like the sounds like of the werewolf and stuff, like cause we hear like all these kind of werewolf noises, and I'm not gonna lie, it is genuinely well done. It's just creepy, and I think it's effective enough for like what the movie's trying to go for and stuff. And like even throughout the movie, because we see like from the perspective of our main character as he's slowly starting to turn into a werewolf, and we see like from his perspective that like everyone around him, he's starting to understand a bit less. He's just kind of hearing like all these like kind of bubbly popping noises and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought like that was actually pretty well done. Like I will say the sound design in the movie was actually good. And in terms of the music, I think the movie overall has an alright score. Like honestly, I don't think it was really like an amazing score or anything, but like, it was serviceable enough. It was a decent enough score for like what the movie needed and stuff. So yeah, but in terms of like the sound department, like the sound effects in the movie were actually good, and the music itself was okay. Now getting on to the characters and the performances. Starting with our main character of the movie, Blake. Like overall, I think Blake is an okay horror protagonist. Like, he's not like an amazing protagonist, but like, I think, as I said, he's kind of solid enough for what the movie needs. Like, well, I wish they delved more into his relationships in the movie a bit more. Like, I think like throughout the movie, as like he's starting to turn into the werewolf, you kind of do start to feel bad for him a bit, and a lot of that really does come down to the performance from Christopher Abbott, who honestly does a genuinely good performance in the movie. Like, I think he actually does a good job at like conveying his character's pain, and like I think he gets us to kind of sympathize for him a bit as he's turning into the werewolf. Which overall his character was okay, but his performance was genuinely good. His wife Charlotte, I thought she was an okay character. Now, as I said, I just wish that like the movie showed us like kind of more of like their relationship and stuff. But like as I said, she's an okay character. Overall, I think Julia Garner does a pretty good job in the movie. Like I think like she does well displaying like the fear that her character is kind of going through a bit and stuff. Like overall, I thought she did like good enough for what the movie needs is. And then like their daughter Ginger, overall like I enjoyed her character a bit. Like I mean, she could be a little annoying at times, but I guess she's a kid and all that. And like I think the movie did a decent job at kind of showing like her relationship with her father, even if like it could have been handled a bit better, honestly. But like you do feel bad for her as she's like watching her father like turn into a monster, and I will say the young actress who plays her, Matilda Firth, actually does like a pretty good job, and like actually does well like playing this character. Well, like yeah, or I think like the characters in the movie are all right. They just could have been like characterized a bit better, but I think overall the acting in the movie is genuinely pretty decent, especially from Christopher Abbott. But like I will say like in terms of like the Wolf Man and like kind of the whole design for it now, just heads up, this is like kind of a minor spoiler. But yeah, that design that was shown at Universal Halloween Horror Nights, I'm just gonna say it, that is not like the final design of the Wolfman. That's kind of simply like only like a stage of it. I think like we actually get to see like a bit more like, of the transformation and stuff. And like I will say the final design of the werewolf was like actually genuinely pretty good. Like I think overall for like kind of in terms of like what they could actually like do, like with like a wolf man design, I honestly thought overall like they did a pretty good job with it. Yeah, so I'll give props to like kind of the makeup team and stuff, because they actually did a good job with the Wolfman design in the film. But anyway, now getting on to the plot of the movie. Now, I will say the movie does have an interesting premise with like we have this main family. They go out into the woods because the main character has inherited his missing father's home in Oregon. And then like once he get there, the family are attacked by a werewolf, and the main character Blake, he gets bitten, and like as they're in this cabin trying to hide from the werewolf, then Blake kind of starts slowly turning into one himself. Like overall, I think it is actually like a good concept, for like a Wolfman movie. I think they actually do a decent job with it. Well, at least in terms of being kind of a creature feature movie, like, because I will say I think this movie definitely works best as a creature feature, because you know like kind of the whole plot with this one, and like as the concept I just explained, like I will say it's actually pretty well done. Like you do feel bad for the main character as he's turning into the werewolf, and like Christopher Abbott's performance in this in particular does elevate it a bit, I feel. And like not to mention there actually is some like well executed like horror moments in this. Like there's one scene in particular where like they're trying to like hide from the Wolfman like on top of like this greenhouse, and I'm not gonna lie, it is actually a pretty well done horror scene. Like it actually is pretty suspenseful. Like they do well in terms of being like a creature feature horror movie. But I will be honest though, like, cause I will say that even though like I do overall have slightly more of a positive like look on this film, I do think this movie is a bit of a step down from The Invisible Man, alright, because as I mentioned, as you all, if you all seen The Invisible Man, like the way that like it handles these themes of like abuse and what it can do to like victims of it and stuff. Like not only were those themes like actually very kind of relevant in modern times, but like they actually handled those themes like really well in that movie, I felt. But with this movie they kind of do try to like tackle some themes of like generational trauma and stuff, but like honestly I don't think they really like executed it to its full potential. Because like, as I said, we start the movie with a flashback. We see Blake and we see his father who ends up going missing in the flashback. Like again, as I said earlier, the movie just cuts away from it and like kind of starts focusing on other things. Like I just wish we got to see a bit more of the flashbacks so that like we can get a better idea of things. And also I don't think the movie does a good enough job of like showing like Blake's relationship with his family. Like they show us a bit, but I think they just don't show us like kind of more of it. Like we get like a scene of like some exposition between Blake and Charlotte, but I feel like it just would have been more impactful if we actually got to see these things. That's the rule of a movie. Show, don't tell. So yeah, I just feel like the movie just could have been like better if like we actually focus on the themes a bit more and stuff. Like overall, I think the movie does pretty well as like a creature feature film, but just in terms of like actually executing these themes, I just thought they could have done a better job with it. And yeah, in terms of the film's narrative structure, like it's kind of like where like a big problem with the movie is for me. I already mentioned all this, but like as I said, like the themes in this film, like of kind of generational trauma and stuff, like these themes just don't really integrate fully into the main narrative, I feel. And like also as I said, we don't get to quite see enough of like Blake's relationship with his wife. We're kind of mainly just told about it, so I just don't think it feels all that satisfying. I just thought like if we got to see more of it, then like it could have been integrated into the narrative a bit better. Like overall, like as the movie is, like I overall think the movie, you know, it does well in terms of being like a creature feature narrative, because the movie is actually a solid creature feature, but in terms of like executing some of these themes, like the movie just really could have done a better job of integrating everything into each other better. And yeah, also I will say there's a twist in the movie which I'm not gonna give away, but oh boy, the twist was just so obvious. Like right from the very beginning of the film, I actually was able to predict what the twist was gonna be. Like it was just so obvious.
God, who saw that coming? Damn right I did!
Yeah, overall, the narrative structure just could have been better in terms of integrating the film's themes into the creature feature narrative. So overall, I think Wolfman is an okay film. It's not great, but it's not terrible either. Overall, the movie is actually a solid creature feature with some good like suspenseful moments, and it does kind of well like in terms of like executing like the basic concept of it. There's some good cinematography, there's good sound design, makeup effects, and some decent performances, especially from Christopher Abbott in the lead. But where the movie falters is like in terms of like some of its pacing and like just how like the film's themes of generational trauma just really should have been integrated into the narrative a whole lot better. As the movie goes, it's like a basic Wolfman creature feature. Like overall, I think, you know, it's an okay movie, and like as I said, it's not a bad film for a January release, but yeah, I will say it is a step down from The Invisible Man. But yeah, for Blumhouse's first movie of the year, it's no Megan, but it's definitely better than Night Swim. In fact, it's better than most of the films Blumhouse put out last year. So overall, this is not a bad start to the year for Blumhouse. Let's hope that they keep it up and actually get better. Anyway, as Wolfman goes, it could have been better, but I think as it is, it's okay. So with all that said, I'm going to give Wolfman a 6 out of 10. So with that, I'll see you guys next time, and bye.